You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, April 6th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint. 1 week and one show at a time. If you're listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to connect you with our guest, answer any questions that you have. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, we have Dee Gupta with Dee Coaching. Yes, I do know it already. Dee, thank you so much for coming back and joining us in studio.
Thank you for having me. And by the way, the title is Yes, I Do Not Know It Already.
Oh my golly, yes, I do not know it already.
Just wanted to clarify because it makes all the difference.
That's a really good clarification. We definitely do not. Well, thank you, Dee. All right, a little bit about Dee. Thank God she caught that. Most life coaches, and that's why she's a life coach, most life coach help you with performance, all the metrics and what it is to be successful on a day-to-day basis. What this approach leads to is stress and burnout. There is more to life than constantly meeting key performance indicators, and Dee developed a very unique coaching methodology called the Zero Productivity Method, which has a fundamentally opposite aim of conventional life coach method. If you are the type of person who would love to live a zero productivity life and at the same time understands that there is no practical get-rich quick scheme and that you're prepared to define and go after the zero productivity lifestyle of your dreams and realize Ruthless Coaching will help you through the journey to get there, then that's why we have Dee, and you definitely want to stay tuned of our conversation with her today.
So, Dee, you got us curious. Yes, I do not know it already is your title. I'm sure you did that for a reason.
I think I know everything, obviously.
Maybe. I don't know. What does your topic mean exactly? Explain that to us. I do not know it already.
Okay, so have you ever had this feeling, have you ever thought to yourself, I should know this already. I'm whatever so-and-so age, I've been doing this for so-and-so time. Why do I not know this already? And then you make yourself feel bad about it, and you worry about it, and it doesn't serve you, it doesn't make you better because you put yourself in a lower emotional state and you're not feeling good. So this topic addresses that, and this topic is about embracing, yes, I do not know it already, and that's okay, and I'm good with it, because it gives me an opportunity to learn, and I'm going to now learn and become better. I'm going to grow.
That is an amazing affirmation, because what you're talking about is our self-talk and how that self-talk can be devastating to our success. And if we're devastated in success, it's going to have a ripple effect into our life and what we're able to contribute to our family and our community.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, love that, Dee.
This is what I like to call the I should know it already syndrome.
Yeah, boy. So let's talk about what kinds of things that people expect themselves to already know.
All kinds of things. My goodness, everything.
Yeah.
So they go into work. I've had clients who will go into work and somebody else is really good at a particular tool that they don't know already. And they beat themselves up and feel miserable. Oh my God, why do I not know this already? And I should know it. And even though I've only joined 2 months ago, I should already know everything.
Yeah.
And it goes into relationships. I am 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. I should know how to handle every particular situation in a relationship already.
Yes.
It's not possible. So pretty much every aspect of our life, and the thing that it affects us the most is in emotional things, how to handle situations with other people, how to handle situations where we're feeling bad. Those kinds of things we tend to beat ourselves up for the most, and those are the things that are not taught at all. If you're going to a software school, like I went to study software, I learned that stuff, and I know it's easier for me to accept that I don't know it, but if it's something related to people, then I used to really beat myself up for it all the time. And I'm sure most people do.
Yeah, and you talk about emotional stress. And again, if you can't have control of your own emotional stress, you're not going to be able to be the best for others. And so,
Right.
yeah, I love this topic.
Dee, why is it so important to let yourself off the hook for the things that you don't know and not beating yourself up for it? I love this. Self-talk stuff is amazing.
Right. It is very, very crucial because our emotional state dictates everything that we do. So if we're feeling bad, just notice yourself. I'm sure most people already know this, but notice that your productivity goes down. You want to just sit and watch TV. You want to lie down. You want to sleep, and you're not feeling like doing anything productive. So when you allow yourself to feel good despite not knowing things, then your emotional state is high and you're feeling good, and then you're much more likely to, one, you're likely to learn the thing that you don't know, and two, you're likely to do better in everything else around you. You're likely to
Yes.
have better relationships. You're likely to have a better productive life.
Yeah. And so there's always a balance in everything, Dee. And so, letting yourself off the hook is really important, but at the same time, not allowing that to take away the motivation to continue to move forward, to excel and to get better, correct?
Absolutely, yes. This does not lead to complacency. It does not lead to feeling like, okay, because I do not, because I'm feeling good doesn't mean that I will not work on learning better. That is the biggest myth of all. We feel that if we're not beating ourselves up, then we're not going to push ourselves to grow. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the complete opposite. When we're feeling good, we're way more likely to take on things because we're excited to learn, we're excited to grow, we're excited to move forward. And when we're feeling low, then we're much more likely to hide under the bed or in front of the TV or whatever else methods that we use to hide. Each of us have our own methods to hide. So feeling good and not beating ourselves up, to me, is the best way to learn and to grow and to solve the problem that we're trying to solve.
I agree. So much better not to be motivated by fear-based, but to be motivated by why-based.
Yes.
What are you excited about?
Yes.
Dee, how do you help your clients specifically wrap their heads around these concepts that you're talking about, like their self-talk, and the ways that they can just have a better self-being just in general?
Right. Okay. So there is this thing that completely transformed my life. There is this 4 stages of learning. The first stage is when you don't know what you don't know. And most of us get caught up there. When we don't know something we don't know and we suddenly encounter it, then that is the first stage where we're like, why don't we know this? Or why didn't we know that we didn't know it? So that's the first stage. And then the next stage is we realize we don't know it. And that goes, the first stage is called unconscious incompetence.
Okay.
We're incompetent and we're unconscious about it. The second stage is called conscious incompetence. We know that we don't know how to tie a shoelace, for example, and we don't know it, but we know that we don't know it. The third stage is we learn how to do it, and we can actively do it. We think about it. We don't, it's not unconscious yet, but we can think about it and tie our shoelace and follow the steps. That's called conscious competence. And then the final stage is unconscious competence, when you can tie your shoelace without thinking about it, or when you drive a car.
Yeah.
So the one of the most important things we can do for ourselves is understand that with everything, even the simple day-to-day communication that we have follows these steps, and we become unconsciously competent in certain ways, and we don't in certain ways, and it's a process, and we're going to continue to learn.
And I love step 3 is the process where you're actually doing. And during that doing, you talked about the learning. And that's when we're most creative, I would imagine,
Right.
in that third stage.
Right.
And so, yeah, I love how you broke that down for stages. So, Dee, let's talk about if you feel that I should know it already syndrome, what should you do?
The first step, every time you have this I should know it already syndrome, the first step is to stop and recognize it.
Yeah.
Once you recognize it, then you can give yourself a large, big smile and say, okay, there you go. You're doing it again, or I'm doing it again. And after you do that, let yourself know that it's just your brain messing with you and trying to make you feel bad, because the brain's job is only to protect. It's not to
Yes.
make you feel happy. So understand that you're going to go through these 4 stages of learning with this particular scenario, and that's okay, and identify where you are in that stage. You may be at the conscious competence stage, and it may take you a little bit of time to figure it out because you've done it before, maybe once or twice, and it's not become unconscious competence yet. And sometimes it may take 20 times of doing it over and over again before it becomes unconscious competence. So allow yourself to breathe and know that you are going to get to the unconscious competence at some point, and that it's okay.
Embrace that moment.
Embrace that moment.
Yeah.
Dee, can you give us an example, like a real life example?
Yes. I had a coworker, and we had certain guidelines around at work, and she wasn't following those guidelines. She started off in the first month that I was there. She started off by following those guidelines perfectly, and everything was smooth, and we were not stepping on each other's toes. And then she stopped. So I guess there was the familiarity thing or whatever. And I'm a coach. I didn't know how to handle it. And I have handled situations like conflict situations with many different kinds of people, but for some reason, I couldn't handle it with her because of some personality or something that I hadn't worked through. So I started feeling really bad. I was like, I am a coach. I should know this already. How can I not know this? It's a pretty simple thing. It's a very tiny little thing. Why don't I know it? So it took me some time to identify and to figure out, I'm doing it again. I'm doing the I do not know, I should know this already syndrome. So then I let myself breathe, and I felt much, much better. And as soon as I felt better, I was able to find out a way to contact her and communicate with her. And we had a really good conversation, and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, awesome. And, it's so funny, too, because I'm just thinking here, when you get in that syndrome space, not only are you beating yourself up for something that you may not know, but then actually you're losing some of the things that are common knowledge to you that you already know, because you're creating that block to where now you just can't really function in a normal basis. So this could be really devastating.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. It doesn't only take away from the thing that you're trying to do. It takes away from everything else in your life as well.
Yeah.
Everything that you know extremely well and you're unconsciously competent at, you suddenly fall down to the conscious competence level at that.
I want to hear you say that about 20 times. Anyways, as we wrap up our time here, Dee, and go to commercial, what would be your last piece of advice that you would give to anyone listening to the show?
Okay. My last piece of advice is, along with giving yourself the leeway to get yourself off the hook, allow other people also to get off the hook. So another thing we like to do is, you should know it already because you've been in this for 10 years, 20 years or whatever. And along with not judging yourself, I would request that you extend the same courtesy to others and not judge others, and allow yourself to understand that they're going through the same process of learning as well, and they're going to take their own time too.
Well, and it's such great advice because, if you're good to yourself, you're going to be good to others. And if you're having a great conversation and affirmation with yourself, it's going to allow you to communicate at a higher and more sympathetic way with others. So I love that. It all starts here with us, and then we can bring it to others. So, Dee, thank you so much for today. That was a really great topic, and I always love having you in studio. Look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Keelan.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, how to use video to make your business boom. Brennan Klaus with Compass, right here at 1150 AM, KKNW, after this short break.